Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be telling you my birth story for my son Noah. So if you've watched my other video, obviously you'll know that he was born on September 18th, 3:52 p.m. So 3:52 in the afternoon. He was 7 pounds, 7 ounces, and almost 20 inches long. I know. That's a long baby. So I wanted to make this video because if you kept watching my videos throughout my pregnancy, you knew how set I was on having a natural birth, a natural drug-free vaginal birth. It did not go like that at all. Not one bit. So let me start from the beginning and then I'll get into recovery and yada yada yada. So 40-week appointment, my due date. I went to the doctor. They asked me if I had my 39-week sonogram, like to see the baby and stuff, and I told them I did not. So they sent me over to the sonographer at a different location, and long story short, they told me he was breech. They told me that they don't know how this happened. Every single appointment I went, and they like press on your belly and like feel where his head is, and they squeeze and pinch and move and touch you in all different types of ways. They told me that he was head down and his butt was up here, like up at the top of my stomach. But really, that was his big ass head. So it came to a surprise to all of us because every single appointment they're like, oh, you're on track, oh, he's in the canal and blah blah blah, and I'm like, yay, like I'm gonna have my natural vaginal birth and everything's gonna go like in the movies and I'm gonna break my water in a fucking subway station. I don't know what was gonna happen, but obviously not what I wanted to happen. So after she told me, look, your baby's head is like all up in your ribs and his feet are like by his face. He was pretty much in a U shape. He was so breech that they usually tell people that have breech babies are gonna have to make the decision to either have a scheduled C-section or wait for him to flip before your due date. Usually they tell him, oh, you have time, you know, we can like move him if you want us to try that, which I heard is really painful, which I would not do. But that's an option, you know, they can like move him on your stomach and stuff, like they can like, I don't know how they do it, but apparently they can move him. And they totally skipped that shit with me. They were like, look, your kid's like that. There is no way in hell that he is flipping before your due date. Like, he's stuck. Like, he's stuck. And so they were like, I'm calling your doctor right now and we're getting you an appointment tomorrow and you need to schedule your C-section. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I started crying, and you know how emotional pregnant people are. Well, at first when she like told me, I was like, oh my god, breech means he's not breathing, and I like freaked the fuck out and I started crying, and my boyfriend was there like confused because he's French and he doesn't even know what we're saying. Well, he understands English, but like breech and Frank breech and all these words that she was throwing out, he was just like, wee wee. I was like, just shut up and sit there. I'm crying right now. Need to cry. So after I got that out of my system and she told me that it wasn't a big deal, like you were just gonna have a C-section, he's safe, he's healthy, he's breathing, he's good. It's just he's not where he's supposed to be. So I calmed down and I reevaluated my freaking life, and I had to convince myself that having a C-section was okay. I've had surgeries, multiple surgeries. I've had surgeries when I was 2, 4, 16. I had a hernia, stomach wall repair, like, I've had it all. I've had surgery. I know how shitty surgery is. The recovery and the anesthesia, like just like going to sleep and waking up and you're like, holy shit, where am I? Yeah, it sucks. But it's really different from a C-section, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. But after I went to my doctor's the next day and we got a date. We got the closest day that we could to get me in. It wasn't an emergency C-section since he was healthy. He had enough liquid, like he was good, he was comfortable. Well, I don't think he was comfortable, he was like in a U, but he was safe. So it wasn't like an emergency, so we didn't have to do it that day, but we did have to get it as soon as possible. So I had to wait like 3 more days, which was nerve-wracking to think that he's like all smushed up in there and he can't freaking move. And, you know, obviously he wants to come out because I'm like 40 weeks and 5 days. Like, he's had his time to cook. It's time to come out. So, induction day. I took all my jewelry out. I showed up at the hospital. They hooked me up to the IV. They took the last ultrasound, which pissed me off because this lady, okay. So, we're doing the ultrasound, right? And she's like feeling around first and she's like, oh my god, I think this is his butt. I think he might have flipped. Getting my hopes up. Like, I'm like, oh my god, I don't have to get cut open. Sitting there like hysterical. And then they put the monitor on me to see, like, for the ultrasound. And she's like, oh, no, that's just his butt. Or, no, that's just his head. His butt. And I'm like, what? She's like, no, that was his head. I'm sorry. I thought that was his butt. I was like, you thought that his head was his butt? Are you saying that my son has that big of a fucking head? She's like, oh, I guess it's got a big head, haha. I was like, bitch, shut up and get out before I strangle you because you just got my hopes up. And I was so happy for like 2 seconds and now I'm like back to like, oh shit, I'm about to get cut open in like 10 minutes. So, they get my IV in, I get over that situation and I'm sitting there and she, TMI, if you're a young viewer or a person that just gets grossed out easily, I don't care about sharing my personal things that would happen, but if you don't want to hear certain things, I would tune out of this part. They had to shave me. This woman took a razor and shaved me. And I was like, I could have shaved myself. You could have told me before I came in. Sitting there, buzz, buzz, buzz. Oh, how was your day? Bitch, you are shaving my vagina. Do not talk to me. Do not make eye contact with me. You do your job and you get out. Because this is weird. So, that was over with. And I'm sitting there and I'm just feeling all different types of gross. And they finally wheel me back and they're like, you, to my boyfriend, you have to stay here. We're going to put her epidural, like the anesthesia, spinal anesthesia in. You can't be in the room. So I'm starting to hyperventilate, getting really nervous. They sit me down and they make me hunch over and hold a pillow. And there's a nurse in front of me holding my shoulders, like trying to reassure me. I was like, bitch, I'm about to get a needle in my back. There ain't nothing you're going to say that's going to make me calm down. This is scary. So I'm sitting there just getting ready, preparing myself. They're washing my back. Every touch is just like, and she's like, calm down, calm down. I'm like, look, there's a needle like this long about to be injected into my spinal cavity. I'm not going to calm down. So I'm just sitting there holding a pillow like, oh, this will be over. It'll be over soon. It's okay. And so she puts it in, and obviously she puts it in wrong or something happened because I felt the worst pain in my hip. My hip. Like my right hip. It was a stabbing pain in my hip. And I was like, could you move it? Because like my hip is in like a lot of pain. And she's like, oh yeah. And she like pulls it out a little bit and moves it. And then like the pain went away. So obviously she got the right spot. But like shit, I could have been paralyzed. But after she took it out and everything was in, and they immediately like rolled my fat ass over, like belly and all. They were like, whoop, Shamu, time to go this way. So I'm rolling and I'm laying down and they strap my arm this way and they strap my arm that way. And so I'm looking like Jesus here, laying, staring at the ceiling. And they put like this drape in front of me and they like take off my robe and like put tape and all different types of stuff down there. And I'm just sitting there like, Jesus, like, are you gonna tell me when you cut me? Or am I just gonna sit here and like wonder? Like, I don't know what's gonna go on. And so they told my boyfriend to come in, and he was standing by he was looking ridiculous too, like in this orange or yellow scrub, you know, I don't know. You'll see the pictures, he looks crazy. And he came in, and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. You know, I'm laying there, and I'm feeling fuzzy. I'm feeling real fuzzy. Like, oh my god. Like, it went all the way up to, like, my chin, and I was just like, hey. Like, it was almost like I was on drugs or something. It was so crazy. So I'm sitting there and, like, I'm just laughing at myself. Like, I'm straight up laughing at myself, and I'm just like, I can feel them touching me. I can feel everything. And so that freaked my boyfriend out, because he's French, and he's like, he's never had this, like, had to experience this, or his mom never even had a C-section. Like, it was always, like, natural vaginal, you know. So he was like, oh my god, you can feel something? And he was like, nurses, 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 she can feel everything. And I'm like, no, 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 I can't, like, feel things, but I can feel things. So that just confused him even more, but in my head it made sense. Like, you know when your leg falls asleep and you've had that tingling sensation, you can feel the touch on your skin, but it doesn't hurt, like you can't feel it? That's what I felt all over my body. So the second they were touching, like, the knife cutting me open felt like someone was dragging their finger across my stomach. Just like the touch. So it was all touching. And then like the pulling and the pushing of them, like trying to yank his ass out because he did not want to come out. But other than that, I was just sitting there chilling, talking to Victor, my boyfriend. If you guys don't know his name is Victor. And I was looking around, and you know, the second she was like, oh, he's out, you know, Daddy, don't you want to take a picture? And I'm laying there like, I want to take a picture, I want to see him. I'm like sitting there like, I can't move. They have my arms strapped down, so I feel like a mental patient. And of course my boyfriend's just standing there like, I'm like, Victor, do something! Take a picture! Take pictures! Because he wasn't taking pictures, and I told him that was your job. Take pictures and be present. That's all you gotta do. And so finally he like snapped into it, and so he took pictures, and they immediately took him over to the heating station, like to measure him, to weigh him, to do all that fun stuff. And right away I noticed something. I did not hear him. You know how in the movies the baby comes out and it's like, oh 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 and then you start crying and it's so emotional and beautiful. That didn't happen. He didn't make a sound, which made me, like, my head was in so many different places. I kept asking the nurse, I was like, is he okay? I can't hear him. Why can't I hear him? Why isn't he crying? Is he okay? Like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, something's wrong and they're not going to tell me because I'll be, like, stressed or I'll freak out. But I was like, if something's wrong, you need to tell me. Like, I just kept asking over and over again. Is there something wrong? So what happened? He's not making any noise. And, after, like, 2 solid minutes of me just freaking the fuck out, and no one would talk to me. Like, no one would tell me what was going on. Like, I think someone said, oh, he's fine, but no one would tell me, like, okay, then why isn't he making any noise? Like, why? Why? So finally, I shit you not, he made the funniest sound ever. I just started laughing so hard. He sounded like a goat. Like, not like a baby, a goat. It sounded like there was a goat in the room. He went, a-ga-ga-ga-ga, a-ga-ga-ga-ga, and I was like, what is that? What's in here? And they're like, oh, that's him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I lost it. I started crying, I started laughing, like, I was like, I did not expect that at all. I was like, damn, okay. So, after that, I was just crying, and you'll see the pictures. You'll see, like, the tears on my face, my makeup, like, everywhere. But it was the most, like, I've never cried so hard in my life. Like, it was so magical. And then, like, they put him on top of me, and I was just sitting there, and I was feeling him. And oh my god, babies are so soft. They're so soft. They're like a seal, but softer. I just wanted to feel him all day, which was awesome because I got skin to skin, so that means, like, I took off all my clothes and I can, like, have him on my skin. And I was just like, oh my god, I just want to squeeze your butt. Like, oh my goodness. It was just magical, honestly. And surprisingly, after like we went in the recovery room and I was breastfeeding for the first time and everything was, friends were coming and I was just recuperating from what was going on. I couldn't feel my damn legs for like 3 hours. But after I got back to feeling in my legs and stuff, like, I started walking. I was walking around my room after like 4 hours. Maybe 5. But like, a really short time. I thought I was gonna be like crippled for like weeks. But I felt great. I was like, I could take on the world right now. I'm on the good drugs. I was walking around. I had my little pouch because I still had a catheter in, so I have like a picture of me holding my catheter. And my mom was like, "Oh, you look funny," and I was like, I looked her right in the eye and I said, "It's Couture, bitch." I said my pee bag was Couture. I was on some really heavy drugs, but I mean, I felt great. And the hospital stay, the second night was rough. Cluster feeding while breastfeeding is rough. He wants to eat like every hour, so that means you get no sleep and your titties hurt like crazy. Your nipples are cracking, bleeding. You got this cream on it 24/7 or you'll die. And it was crazy. It was intense. But, and for that reason, we had complications down the line. Once we were out of the hospital and stuff, after like a week, I was like 98% back to normal. I was walking around the house, doing laundry, holding him, doing all the things I used to do. Well, except for like exercise and stuff. Like I know my limitations, but I felt good. Like really good. I only bled for like maybe a week and then the bleeding stopped. Yeah, and then I lost 15 pounds in the first week and 25 pounds in the next 2 weeks. So like in 2 weeks I lost 25 pounds. Right now I'm at 145, and so I have to lose literally 10 pounds and I'm back to pre-pregnancy weight. I feel pretty damn good about myself right now. Like, pretty good. Breastfeeding, I only breastfed him for about 3 weeks because I suffered with engorgement, which if you look it up, you'll know what I mean. Don't look at the images because you're gonna get scared. Especially little kids that are watching this, because I know crazy kids come in here and say, "Oh, teen mom, let me watch these videos." Don't look up engorgement. Don't do it. But engorgement is basically when your breast gets so hard you could kill somebody. If you swung them the wrong way, you were knocking somebody out. Like, no joke. It hurt really bad. And breastfeeding, oh, it hurt even worse. So I had to get a pump. My supply was coming in too fast and my baby wasn't eating enough. So I got a pump, and it was a manual pump. So I pumped and pumped and pumped and pumped, and slowly realized that my pump nozzle was too big for my boob. So it was taking in too much of my nipple and it was causing it to have sores and to crack. And so it was too late before I realized it, but once I realized it and I tried to look for one, obviously the size I needed they didn't sell them in stores, so I had to like Amazon it. Ridiculous. But it was useless by that time because my boobs had cracked, and then I couldn't breastfeed for a good like few days until they were healed, and then my supply just dried up. So we tried formula. We switched formulas now and then because he has some sensitivities, but now he's on a good formula that he likes, and I mean, he's happy. He got all the first, month of nutrients that he really needs, and that's what I'm happy about. I'm happy that I tried. If I could still breastfeed, I'd be breastfeeding. No argument. I'd be breastfeeding. But I can't. Especially going back to work. I mean, I was only 4 weeks postpartum when I went back to work. For reasons of my own, I needed to make money. I couldn't afford to be out of work any longer, and my boyfriend doesn't have a job. Obviously, he's like a foreign exchange student kind of. He only goes to school. He doesn't have the papers to work. He doesn't have a social. So it's really on me right now and his parents, and I don't like to ask for money from anyone. I'm kind of stubborn or independent like that. I hate asking people for money. So I really wanted to get back to work. It was hard, but I managed. I mean, I'm going back slowly. Well, now I'm back full time because I'm healed. It's been over 6 weeks, but at that time I was going back, slowly. They had me on limitations. I was only on register and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah. So now he's like 7 weeks old. I'm like 7 weeks postpartum, and honey, I feel great. I feel great. I still have a little pouch that I need to get rid of. It's not fat, it's just kind of like skin, which I know a lot of mothers suffer with, and I mean, I'm not in a big hurry to get rid of it just because it's not a big deal. But the one thing that surprised me was stretch marks. I don't have any on my stomach, of course, the one place that I thought I was going to get them, so I lathered lotion every day. No, I got them on my ass. Yeah, on my ass. It was great. I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, oh, I'm a tiger now. Sweet. Sweet, I'm a tiger. Yeah, it's really bad. I mean, they have creams and stuff, but I was so surprised. I was like, the one place I didn't put cream, my butt. Why would I have to put cream on my butt? Why? But yeah. Other than that, life's pretty good. He's pretty much an angel. That's what people tell me. He's got his dad's eyes, so blue. And he sleeps and eats and poops like a baby should. He has his moments because he is getting problems with gas, but for the most part, he's like the most like alert and like alive baby. Like lots of newborns are very, let me just sleep, let me eat, go back to sleep and poop and blah blah blah. They're not very like, but the moment he was out, he was always like he has this bug-eyed look that'll give you nightmares. And then with the eyebrows, oh my god, the eyebrows. That's his look when he gives you this look. It's always the eyebrows. I don't know where he gets it from. Not me. But yeah, that's pretty much my birth story and a little bit extra. But I'll hopefully make more videos. I was thinking about doing like a daily vlog just so you guys could see more of him and how he like interacts with people and stuff, but this will have to do for right now. But thank you for watching, and if you liked it, leave a like and comment. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to ask or to answer them. Answer them, I meant. But yeah, thank you for watching. See you next time.